Wrestling fans, and more important, bullpen professional wrestling fans, welcome to a special edition of Strong Style. I'm your host, Jeremy the Impact York, and we are joined by a very special guest. If you've been to bullpen shows, you know all about my particular guest right now. He is the loyalist, Ryan Wyndell. How are you, bud?
Just fine. How are you, Mr. York?
I am doing pretty good. Without it's not meant as a detractor, but I may be doing slightly better than you. After it seemed like 50 tries, Dante Diamond did find a way to get that title away from you, unfortunately.
You know, sometimes, as Jim Cornette would say, a blind squirrel does find a nut, and I think he found a very rare weak point, and I think he just was able to exploit that, being the conniving, evil,
Mm.
dastardly person that he is. So he definitely is going to be getting his comeuppance, especially this weekend, going up against someone with the likes of Rob Adonis, whom I'm very excited to see put Dante Diamond in his place. So,
Yep, I have known of. I don't think we've ever formally met, but I've known of Mr. Adonis for many years, and I've never known him to not be able to cash a check that somebody else tries to write. And to get back into Dante though, like I said, it's not that far off to say you guys faced 50 times because not only did you guys face probably at least a half dozen times or more if you include all the non-TV shows as I call it, but you guys actually started training together, correct?
yes, we actually met before Bullpen was a thing, I believe. We met when we were both being trained under, I was trained under Mike Golden for a little while.
Hmm.
And at the time, I didn't really mind him as much. We had talked and cut up and things and such, but as he sort of progressed, we found our differences to be too much for us to go on remaining as far as in the ring, sportsmanlike, or at least on his end. I've been a complete sportsman this entire time. He has just been himself, and himself is not a sportsmanlike individual.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, I do have to give that to both of you. In briefly speaking to both of you before now, it seems like you both are 100% who you are, and in no way have you ever tried to misrepresent that, or anything like that.
No, absolutely not. I believe in being 100% transparent about yourself and being yourself 100%. That being said, Dante Diamond is a sick parody of patriotism.
Mm.
Uh, in my opinion, of course, which is correct, but Dante represents the worst of what this country has to offer.
Mm.
So I think that I don't think that he truly means what truly means it when he chants USA. I believe he just operates on this system where he takes advantage of the feeble, uneducated minds of the residents of rural Georgia.
So it seems like that even though you guys are taking sort of a break this time around and not facing each other, seems like you don't feel like things are done between the two of you.
Oh, absolutely not. And I have a feeling they never will. There's too much of a difference between us for that to ever fizzle out. And do I think we will be in a championship setting again? Absolutely. You know, as much as I talk negatively about Dante Diamond, I will give the devil his due. The one thing he has, and as much of a nuisance as it is, one thing he has is persistence. So I have no doubt in his everlong journey to make my time in bullpen as frustrating as possible, we will meet again.
Yeah, I don't doubt that either, and that is no insider information. But I feel like yeah, we're just getting started with that. As I do have to ask for because I don't know that we ever heard your side of this. We saw at the time the general manager Bull Buchanan of Bullpen Wrestling. He has since lost the ability to do that. He just owns it and sweeps floors and puts out chairs and makes hot dogs. Uh, Go back and read reviews and watch videos if you don't know what I'm talking about. But I definitely know what his interpretation of this was. But what kind of led to you putting that particular championship in the bottom of the river, and kind of what was your take on why that was necessary?
Well, it was necessary to restore the credibility of, well, what I represent in wrestling. I represent true wrestling, and with true wrestling comes prestige. And whenever you just have this generic, heavy hunk of leather with some metal on it, it doesn't really portray exactly what this sport means to me. And of course, Dante somehow got it back. I'm gonna be honest. Whenever Mr. Buchanan said that I owed him $400 for that, I kind of, well, I gave him double at the end of the night because I just kind of wanted to stick it to him a little
Hmm.
bit. I thanked him, of course, for the opportunity to work at Bullpen, but I think he did learn a lesson that night, not just from me, of course, but for me, I think throwing it in the river was symbolic of flushing away the impurities that that belt had on it, being held by Frankie Valentine, especially Frankie Valentine, whose legacy would tarnish a true championship like mine would.
Interesting. Kind of as a way to purify it, so to say, kind of baptize it
Yeah.
back into what the state that you feel it should be in.
Yes, I am here, and I said it the first time I ever addressed the public. Whenever I had first came in under Pat Roach, we are here, or now I am here to restore professionalism inside and outside the ring and the prestige of professional wrestling.
And so far, I got to say you're doing a pretty bang up job of doing that.
Thank
Um,
you.
Now, of course, we will get into the city of which you dwell, Helen, here in a minute. But you actually kind of got your start, at least in life, in Boston.
Y-
Very, I would say, a very loyal, at least loyal to the crown for a minute. A very loyal place to be from, but definitely uh, different kind of cats than you will find down here in the South. What was it like coming from Boston?
Well, of course, the harbor. I love the ocean, and we always had oysters. We always had fried clams. I do make the best fish and chips and fried clams if you
Mm,
ever wanted me to hand you a basket of them sometime.
mm,
But whenever growing up, of course, I watched more classic wrestling. I didn't really keep up with the product at the time. I was born in 2004, so
mm.
I didn't really keep up with the 2004 to 2016, which is whenever I started wrestling. So I really loved growing up in Boston, Massachusetts. I went to school there, had a lot of really close friends up there, and I just recently visited Rhode Island,
Mm.
which brought back some nostalgia. And I love the cedar shingle houses out there. Those are very beautiful homes. But whenever I was 12 years old, I found out that there was a youth professional wrestling training class. It just was in Douglasville, Georgia.
Mm.
And at first I thought, well, that would be nice. It's just, I don't know if it would be worth moving across states, until I found out that it was the head trainer was Robert Gibson of the Rock and Roll Express, in
Yep.
which case my dad jumped at the opportunity and said, we're going, because my father is a very big fan of the Rock and Roll Express. He grew up during the 80s and he went and saw them in the Omni. So he also jumped at the chance for me to be taught by the better half of the Rock and Roll Express. Sorry, Punky, but Hoots got it on you. So we moved from Boston, Massachusetts to Douglasville for a little while. And for about 4 years, I was from the age of 12 to about 16, I was trained under Robert Gibson.
Wow.
In Yeah. That youth class was in All Pro Championship Wrestling.
Mhm.
I think you could still find some old stuff on YouTube, maybe an old Facebook page, but that was his promotion that he ran for a good long while up until about 2021, which is sort of when I branched off and actually did more of the production side and
Mhm.
eventually moved over to Helen a few years ago, which we had always went to Helen as a vacation spot even when I was younger. Um, but getting to finally live there is it's beautiful out there and the food is amazing.
Oh yeah, just picturesque is what being up in the mountains is really like. Of course, we are talking to the loyalist Ryan Wyndell. You can catch him currently in Bullpen Pro Wrestling among all your other favorite social medias as well. Um, you have a new opponent coming up, and it's somebody that everybody in the area should be familiar with. In fact, I just saw him at a show over the weekend. And I'll get into what happened to him too. It may give you a little bit of a leg up, but you are going to go against the younger Dallas brother in Ethan Dallas. So, what do you know about Ethan, and have your paths crossed up until this point?
Well, what I know about Ethan is he's the guy who tags in the guy who actually draws the money. So
Mm,
Ethan and I have crossed paths before, mostly in the locker room. Of course, we would exchange pleasantries. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not actually, you know, most people don't hate me in there, but if they do, they just don't tell me because they know I'll break every bone in their body and not have much trouble doing it. Um, Me and Ethan have had a couple conversations about wrestling, and he's more of the flippy dippy, modern, stupid style wrestling that you can get your neck broken at any time. Um, and not even have to have an opponent to do that to you. So now
true.
he's got a I already have a leg up because he's already on the way to breaking his own neck. So already there, I've already got a leg up on that one. But as far as my problem with him, he's a drag on the business, and his style of wrestling has really polluted the business. If people wanted to go see gymnasts, they would watch the Olympics. So, and he's not an Olympic gymnast, I can go and tell you
Mm,
that, much less an actual professional wrestler.
wow. Shots fired there on the younger Dallas brother, who will watch this. I do know that both Dallas brothers do watch this show, so that's going to be fun. Um,
In that
yeah, for
case,
people.
in that case, Ethan, tag in your brother. I don't. Your brother isn't worthy of that television championship anyway, and I'm
Mm,
looking for some real competition this time. So do what you do best and tag him in. Anyways, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
no, you're good because if you already didn't have a reason to come to the bullpen show this weekend, this match is this is only one side of it, and you're seeing how much it can get stirred up and how much truth could be spit, and we'll have to see what Ethan does in response to it. But God, lost my train of thought now.
You're all good.
No, you're good. Let's go there with that. All right, that's what I was going to do. I was going to tell you what happened to Ethan. That's where I got lost in a little bit. So, his brother Aaron was in a match at Premier All Star Wrestling, and a couple guys that are normally from Pro South happened to be on the card, and they were trying to throw a fireball at Aaron and actually hit Ethan instead, which did partially cause some eye damage. He did have his eye covered later on in the night. So, lack of a better way to put it, you might be facing a Cyclops, at least a temporary one, coming into Saturday. But he, because of because of his style, you do have to watch out for those errant kicks that can come from anywhere. He has such an unorthodox style that, you know, you're going to have kicks and strikes coming from everywhere.
Thank you for that information. That will be useful. Although I don't
I mean,
keep, um,
it's public info, so I'm not really giving any secrets here. I mean, whether you saw the video or read a review or just asked
no, I
somebody, I
don't
mean,
watch
that's
the
public
Dallas
knowledge.
Brothers. I don't watch the Dallas Brothers. I don't waste my time.
He is
So thank
Ryan
you.
Wyndell. He is the loyalist. How have you always been? Have you always been this loyal to the crown, or did that kind of grow as you experienced life in Boston and now Helen, Georgia?
It Well, I've always had a thing for British wrestling and British culture, of course. I grew up in sort of a New England town,
Hmm.
Boston, but it sort of came from my disillusionment of what we have here. If anybody here is the most political person, it's me. So whenever I see people walking about without health care in a country that doesn't really care about its people, of course, I look to the nearest place that actually does have healthcare, and that is the UK, that actually knows how to run a country. We have been in shambles since we started, so that's what I have to say about that. That's where this came from. It's not just about wrestling, it's about me as a person, what I believe in, and this flag is what represents that.
Very noble. Very. Once again, I know you're being straight up because we have had conversations away from here. And growing up, I know you said you didn't get into wrestling until a little bit later on. Um, were there either British or even American or anybody across the world who were the wrestlers that either kind of hooked you into this thing called professional wrestling, or people that you kind of look at maybe an early style that you picked up?
Well, of course, Jim Breaks, if you don't know who that is, he was a very old school British wrestler. He is one of my biggest inspirations with his style, very slow, methodical. He will work one part of the body uh, for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the British Bulldog, Bret Hart. I've always said wrestling would be in a better place if people watched Bret Hart instead of Shawn Michaels. Um,
Not a bad
we'd be
argument.
in a we'd be in a better state of affairs. Um, so Bret Hart, there for a good while, I was very much into Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. I
Mm-hmm.
actually have the old school DVD set with the
Mm-hmm.
several flaps in it with the two or three discs. So those are probably my Mount Rushmores, and of course, Ric Flair. You can't you can't top
Right.
Ric Flair as far as that goes, and of course Robert Gibson.
Yeah.
How could I how could I ever overlook Robert Gibson? He's the man
Friend
who
of
trained.
friend of this show and friend of mine, Robert Gibson. Yes, absolutely. Friend of a friend of mine, but absolutely, we have hung out at wrestling shows, so I consider a friend.
One time, he had there was this big meet and greet slash wrestling show that was going on when I was like 13, so I had been training for about a year, so he knew me and my dad very well, and he he had gotten us into the show for free somehow,
Mm.
and we didn't know how until we were walking to find our seats, and he goes, "By the way, if anybody asks you who you are, tell them that y'all are my nephews, and I got y'all some seats." So he's always done right by us. So
Absolutely. And for people just joining the show, which is weird because it's a pre-recorded show, but if you're just joining us in this part of the show, we are talking to one of the nephews of Robert Gibson, Ryan Wyndell. Uh, Great time to tune into the show to learn that knowledge. And of course, we're talking about
nephews.
everything. We're talking about everything, everything bullpen, and yeah, we're kind of past Ethan Dallas. So, do have the big show coming up this weekend. What would you tell people that have either never seen Bullpen or maybe they have seen Bullpen? Why should they show up to this show to see you versus Ethan Dallas?
Well, first of all, it's to see a twig get broken in several places. Everybody loves to see someone get mangled. Um, also, bullpen
It's kind of the
professional.
American way. It's
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing that is American about me. I do mangle people. Uh, bullpen in, I have to say, Mr. Buchanan, love him to death, gave me my opportunity, but in spite of the old guard, such as Johnny Brown, unfortunately, Bull Buchanan falls into that category. People like Frankie Valentine, people who've been around for the past 30, 25, 30 years. In spite of them, the younger talent, such as myself, Zach Buchanan, Jaden Vane, Trey Jordan,
hmm
we have surpassed them and we have made this our show, our exhibition. And so whenever you pay to see bullpen professional wrestling, you are paying to see the best of our generation and of generations prior. Because let's be honest, they don't have anything on us. So
it's very true.
when you come to bullpen, be prepared to see the best wrestling you will ever see. Because at bullpen, we wrestle, or at least I do.
It's hard to argue that for sure. Now you brought that up. That was something I was going to bring up too. After the last show, we kind of saw that. I mean, you and Trey Jordan have tagged before, so we've kind of seen you guys in the same place at the same time. But by the end of the show, we saw one Zach Buchanan besides you guys as well. Was that kind of maybe just y'all had a common goal that night, or is that something going forward we should be paying attention to?
I will say the one thing I will say is a common goal. And I believe it should be the common goal of every young professional wrestler. But as far as that, I don't want to get into that. There will be things revealed and we will get our way. Um, but Zach and I have gone back a little while, even when he was sort of in his dad's shadow. He did always stand out to me as one of the most talented, most intense, most wrestlers I've ever seen. And he knows his way around a wrestling ring. He knows his way around a locker room. It isn't somebody like Ethan Dallas who's whistling Stranger in Paradise whenever he walks into a locker room. He he knows his way around things, and I think we found common ground in that. And whenever he finally got out of his old man's shadow, I was proud of him, and we had some conversations, and we have some plans that I'm not going to get into right now. I'm not going to specify what they are, but it will be a big thing that's going to happen, not just in bullpen, but in the whole of Southern professional wrestling and independent professional wrestling as a whole.
Well, definitely so. And not that I choose sides and things because whether I'm writing articles or doing this show, I try to stay as in the middle as I can about things. But, with a last name, even though it's just four letters, but last name York, even though we didn't start here, apparently we started in Scotland. I've always kind of been about the crown myself. So I'm not really choosing sides. This is just a really pretty flag. I'll throw that out there. It's a really pretty flag.
It is the
Um, I
best.
I mean, I have to find mine that looks like that. It's somewhere in this room. But other than that, I believe I'm going to let you back to your night. Glad that you gave us a few minutes of your time here. And of course, as I said, we are talking to Ryan Wyndell, the loyalist, originally from Boston. Now he calls Helen home because You don't want to live in Douglasville.
No,
You don't want to live.
you don't want to live in Douglasville. Nobody wants. People from Douglasville hate Douglasville.
I don't think there were any lies detected on that one. But Ryan, we appreciate you joining us. Everybody, bullpen this weekend at Gold Dust Park. If for nothing else, come see what Ethan Dallas responds to what Ryan said there, or come see if what Ryan said is the actual truth. But we will let you back to your night, and we appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
And we will see you guys on the next episode. Deuces, gooses, go watch wrestling.